The story you're about to hear will tug at your heart in ways you didn't expect. What unfolded on that stormy night changed a family forever. Thunder roared across the night sky as sheets of rain hammered down on the rooftops of Willow Creek. This quiet little town rarely experienced storms this intense. Trees bent low under the force of the wind, their branches flailing like arms trying to stay upright. Street lamps flickered in protest, shadows dancing wildly on the slick pavement. It felt like the whole world was holding its breath. Inside a cozy two-story home at the edge of Maple Street, 5-year-old Danny, to anyone who knew him, sat cross-legged on the living room floor near the front door. Unlike most children his age, the storm didn't scare him. In fact, it fascinated him. Each time lightning lit up the sky, his small face glowed with wonder. His wide brown eyes followed every flash, every crackle. When the thunder rolled in moments later, he giggled, then counted the seconds just like his father had taught him. 1, 2, 3, he whispered, pressing his little fingers onto the wooden floor. That means it's 3 miles away. From the kitchen, his mother Maya appeared around the doorway. Her long dark hair was hastily tied into a bun, and worry lined her face. She wiped her hands on her apron and called out, "Danny, sweetheart, come away from the door." Danny turned around, his face bathed in another quick burst of white light. "But Mom," he replied, "I like watching the rain." "Dad said it's safe as long as I'm inside." Maya hesitated. In the kitchen, her husband Noah stood at the counter, chopping vegetables with quick, practiced motions. The rhythmic thud of the knife echoed in sync with the rain tapping against the windowpane. He smiled, clearly listening in. "Let him watch," Noah said gently. "He's fine. He's not touching the door. Storms like this are rare, he's curious." Maya sighed and shook her head slightly, but her shoulders dropped, and the crease in her brow softened as she stepped back into the kitchen. Noah wiped his hands and walked over, giving her hand a gentle squeeze. "You worry too much," he teased. "I know," she admitted quietly. "But I can't help it sometimes." Outside, the storm surged. Rain splashed against the windows. The wind whistled through the scenes of the house, howling in the fireplace and rattling the shutters. Yet Danny stayed put, glued to the view through the narrow window beside the door. His small palm rested against the cold glass, feeling the subtle vibrations from each thunderclap. He wasn't afraid. Back in the kitchen, a pot of chicken soup simmered on the stove, filling the house with warmth and the smell of rosemary and garlic. The comforting scent softened the sharp edges of the storm outside. Noah reached for the pepper grinder. Maya stirred the soup. "Dinner in 5 minutes," she called over her shoulder. Danny barely heard him. His full attention was on the glass. Lightning struck again, casting an eerie glow across the porch. For a moment, the light illuminated something strange. A blow of golden fur. Danny blinked. Was that? He pressed closer to the glass, squinting into the dark. Another lightning flash answered his question. There, soaked and shivering, stood a golden retriever. Not just one dog, 3 tiny puppies clung to her sides, huddling under her belly. Their fur was plastered down from the rain. The mother dog was panting heavily, her body trembling. She looked right at Danny. She didn't bark or scratch. She just stared through the glass with eyes that pleaded. Danny's small hands fumbled at the doorknob. From the kitchen, Maya called again. "Danny, did you hear me?" "Dinner." But the urgency in her voice faded when she saw her son standing by the door, unmoving. Noah noticed too. "Danny?" The boy turned, face pale. "There's a dog," he whispered. "A big one. And puppies." Noah frowned, drying his hands on a dish towel. "Are they in the yard?" Danny shook his head. "They're right at the door." Maya joined them, concern etched into every feature. She followed Danny's gaze out the window, and her breath caught in her throat. "Oh my God," she murmured. There she was, a golden retriever, fur-drenched and heavy with rain, standing firm despite the wind. She didn't look aggressive. She looked desperate. Protective. Behind her, 3 soggy pups whimpered and shifted. "We have to help them," Danny said quietly. "They're cold." Noah crouched down to his son's level. "You're sure?" Danny nodded. "The big one and the little ones. I saw them when the lightning flashed." Noah glanced at Maya, the question unspoken between them. Danny had an imagination, sure, but he wasn't one to make things up. "I'll check," Noah decided. "Stay back, both of you." Maya pulled Danny a few steps away as Noah unlocked the door and cracked it open. A gust of wind immediately blew in, sending rainwater streaking across the floor. The golden retriever didn't move. She simply stood there, eyes fixed on Noah now, as if waiting for permission. "I can't just leave them out there," Noah muttered. "We can't bring them into the house," Maya argued. "They're filthy. And, what if they're sick?" "The mudroom," Noah suggested. "It's warm. It's dry. I'll stay with them until the storm passes." Another lightning bolt split the sky, this one so close it lit up the porch like a stage. Thunder followed instantly, so loud it rattled the windows. "Please, Mommy," Danny whispered, the childhood name he'd merely grown out of slipping back into his voice. "She needs help." His eyes mirrored the retriever's, big, brown, and filled with unspoken pleas. Maya exhaled slowly. "Just for tonight," she said. Noah stepped outside, barefoot on the cold, wet porch, rain soaking through his shirt in seconds. The golden retriever didn't flinch as he approached. She stood protectively over her pups, her eyes flicking between Noah's face and the door behind him. "It's okay, girl," Noah said softly, kneeling just outside the doorway. "We're not going to hurt you." For a moment, the only sounds were the rain and the low whimpers of the puppies beneath him. Then, slowly, she took a cautious step forward. Noah backed into the mudroom, holding the door open. "Come on. It's dry in here." The golden retriever seemed to weigh his words, then took another step, and then another, until she was just inside. One by one, the puppies followed him, tiny paws slapping the tile floor. The mother dog gave a soft, guttural sound, her body relaxing slightly as she stood in the warm space. Maya hovered by the kitchen entrance, towel in hand, looking unconvinced. "She's just skin and bones," Noah murmured, already reaching for another towel from the shelf. "And look at her leg, she's limping." The dog lowered herself slowly to the floor with a quiet whine, as if the simple act of lying down required every last ounce of her strength. Her side bore a faint, reddish wound, partially healed, but clearly still tender. Danny knelt beside the puppies, who huddled into their mother's fur with tiny yips of exhaustion. "Are they going to be okay?" he asked, stroking one of the pups with gentle fingers. "I think so," Noah said, drying the mother's head with careful movements. "They're cold and hungry, but they'll make it." Maya approached slowly, towel still clutched in her hands. She knelt beside Danny and gently dabbed one of the smaller pups, her touch surprisingly tender. "Just for tonight," she repeated, but her voice was softer now, the earlier edge of concern fading. Danny looked up, his expression thoughtful. "We should name her." Maya arched an eyebrow. "Danny, she's not ours." "I know," he said, petting the retriever's ear. "But she came to us. Through the storm. Like the moon through clouds." Noah chuckled. "Poetic." "I'm going to call her Luna," Danny said, nodding firmly. "Because she found us in the dark." "Luna," Noah repeated, trying the name out. "It suits her." At the sound of her new name, the retriever tilted her head and gave a soft wag of her tail. Danny beamed. "See? She likes it." Maya smiled despite herself. Sighing. Temporary names only. Danny glanced at the pups, thinking. This one's Storm. That one can be Cloudy. And the little one. Sunny. Storm, Cloudy, and Sunny, Noah repeated with a grin. That's quite the weather forecast. The warmth of the moment wrapped around the family like a blanket, even as the storm continued to rage outside. With towels draped over Luna and her puppies, they began to dry off, their fur slowly fluffing back to life. Maya returned to the kitchen and came back with a small bowl of leftover chicken. Luna sniffed it eagerly but didn't move until her puppies had each had a chance to eat first. Then, as if assured they were okay, she nudged the bowl with her nose and began to eat quietly, never taking her eyes off Danny. Noah stood leaning against the doorframe, watching the scene with arms crossed. She's different, he said quietly to Maya. She's been through something. She found us for a reason, Maya replied, her eyes fixed on Luna. Morning arrived with soft sunlight streaming through the windows, the storm finally spent. The scent of damp earth hung in the air, and water dripped steadily from the eaves of the house. Danny woke early, still in his dinosaur pajamas, and crept downstairs, his small feet padding across the wooden floor. Luna, he whispered as he opened the mudroom door. The retriever lifted her head immediately, ears perking up. Her tail thumped gently against the wall. She looked better already, drier, calmer, more alert. The puppies stirred at the sound of his voice, squirming and stretching. They're still here. Danny called out excitedly. Noah entered behind him, hair tousled and eyes bleary. Of course they are. They made it through the night. Danny turned to his dad. Can we keep them? Noah sighed. We'll talk to the shelter. See if anyone's looking for them. What if nobody is? Danny asked. What if they have no home? Then we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, Noah said, offering a diplomatic smile. Maya appeared in the doorway, tying her robe around her waist. In the meantime, they need breakfast. I think there's more leftover chicken and some milk for the pups. Danny brightened. Can I help feed them? Of course, Maya replied, ruffling his hand. But first, you need your breakfast too. Can't save strays on an empty stomach. After a quick meal, the family gathered in the mudroom again. Luna stretched, then settled on the blanket, allowing her puppies to nurse. Danny knelt beside them, entranced. They're so small, Maya whispered. 3 or 4 weeks, maybe, Noah guessed. Eyes are open, and they're getting around, but they're still nursing. Danny leaned in. Can I pet them? Better let them finish first, Noah said. Luna might be protective. But Luna didn't seem concerned. In fact, she shifted slightly to give Danny better access. He gently stroked the back of the pup he'd named Storm. They trust me, he whispered. Noah knelt beside him. I think Luna does too. She knew we would help her, Danny said, then added more quietly, well. I hope we're helping her. We are, Noah promised. And we'll keep helping until we know she's okay. Luna leaned into Danny, pressing her head gently against his side. Danny smiled, resting his cheek on her head. Maya checked her watch. I have to go. Can you text me what the shelter says? Noah nodded. Of course. She knelt to kiss Danny's forehead and squeezed Noah's hand. She paused before stepping out the door, giving Luna a long, thoughtful look. The retriever held her gaze. After Maya left, Noah called the nearest shelter and explained the situation. They agreed to help scan Luna through a microchip and check if any reports had come in about missing golden retrievers with puppies. Noah bundled Luna into the tower with Tan, wrapping her in an old blanket. Danny sat in the back seat beside her, one hand resting on her back. At the shelter, a quiet woman named Susan greeted them and led them into a small exam room. A vet tech ran a scanner across Luna's neck and shoulders. Nothing, she said after a minute. No chip that I can detect. Noah frowned. Could it have moved? It's possible, Susan replied. But unlikely. My guess is she never had one. She jotted notes on a clipboard. And we've had no reports of a missing golden retriever in the area, especially not one with puppies. She just showed up, Noah said. In the middle of the storm. A few minutes later, a man entered the shelter lobby. His eyes immediately locked onto Luna. That your dog? Susan asked. The man hesitated. No. But she looks familiar. The man standing at the shelter's front desk was tall, lean, with a weathered face and sharp eyes that didn't blink nearly enough. His jacket was soaked from the rain outside, and his muddy boots left wet tracks on the tile floor. He stared at Luna with an intensity that made Noah shift protectively in front of her. You sure you don't know her? Susan asked again, pen poised over the intake form. I said she looks familiar, the man repeated. But she's not mine. My dog went missing weeks ago, didn't have puppies. Danny stood silently by Noah's side, clutching the edge of his father's jacket. He didn't like the way the man looked at Luna. Neither did Luna. Her body had stiffened the moment the man walked in. She was quiet, but a low, vibrating growl had begun in her chest. Easy, girl, Noah murmured, kneeling beside her. The man frowned. She always growl like that? Only when she doesn't trust someone, Noah replied, voice firm. Susan cleared her throat. Well, we can take your information just in case your dog turns up. But this one doesn't have a chip, and no one's reported her missing. The man hesitated, his gaze lingering on Luna. Yeah. Sure. I'll fill something out. As Susan led him to the counter, Noah gently stroked Luna's head. Something's not right, he whispered, half to himself, half to the dog. And Luna definitely knows it. Luna didn't take her eyes off the man. When the family got home, Noah and Danny settled Luna and the puppies back into the mudroom, but Luna kept her ears perked, restless, as if still listening for trouble. Later that night, as Danny sat flipping through a picture book about dogs, he stopped on a page and tapped it excitedly. Dad. Look. It says golden retrievers are super smart. Like, they can learn tons of commands and do special jobs. That's right, Noah replied, pausing from grading papers at the dining table. They're used for search and rescue, therapy work, even in the military sometimes. Danny looked up at him. Do you think Luna had a job like that? Noah smiled. It's possible. She acts like she's trained. The way she watches us. The way she protected the puppies. Danny stared at Luna across the room, who now lay curled up with her pups but opened one eye at the sound of her name. She's not just a dog, he said. She's like a surgeon. Before Noah could respond, his phone buzzed. It was Maya. Her voice was tight. Noah. I know this sounds paranoid, but I need you to be careful. I don't like that guy from the shelter. If Luna was afraid of him, there's probably a reason. I agree, Noah said, already locking the front door. I'll keep my phone on. Come home soon. After hanging up, he checked on Danny, who had made a nest of pillows and blankets in the master bedroom closet, his new fort. Luna and the puppies were there too, comfortably nestled against a bundle of towels. Danny sat beside them, his hand on Luna's head. Is the bad man going to come here? He asked quietly. I don't think so, Noah said, though he wasn't certain. But we're ready just in case. That night, Luna didn't sleep much. Every few hours, she stood and paced quietly through the hallway, checking the doors and windows. Once, Noah caught her staring out into the backyard, ears forward, completely still. She's on guard, he whispered, watching from the shadows. The next morning, she behaved differently. She scratched gently at the back door, then turned to look at Noah, her eyes filled with urgency. Danny appeared beside him, rubbing sleep from his eyes. "She's not scared," Danny said. "She wants to show us something." The three of them, Noah, Danny, and Luna, stepped out into the backyard. The storm had left behind a trail of broken branches and muddy puddles, but the sky was clear and bright. Luna led them to the woods behind their house, her steps sure and deliberate. "Stay close," Noah warned. Luna moved ahead, pausing to glance back and make sure they were following. Her posture was calm but purposeful, her nose occasionally twitching as she caught some invisible scent. "Someone's been through here," Noah noted, crouching beside a patch of broken twigs. "See that? Fresh tracks." Luna suddenly tensed. A growl began low in her throat. Noah stepped protectively in front of Danny. "Luna? What is it?" That's when they saw him. At the edge of the clearing, partially hidden behind a tree, stood the same man from the shelter. Only this time, he didn't look cautious or curious, he looked furious. "I see you've still got my dog," he said coldly. Noah's jaw clenched. "You told the shelter your dog didn't have puppies." "I was mistaken," the man said with a tight smile. "Memory's a funny thing." He stepped forward, and Luna barked sharply, her body braced between the man and the family. "Stay back," Noah warned, pulling Danny behind him. The man's hand moved toward his jacket pocket, just a little shift, subtle, but enough to raise every hair on Noah's neck. Luna snarled, louder now, teeth bared. "That's my dog," the man hissed. "And I'm taking her back. You need to leave." "Right now," Noah said, picking up a fallen branch. "The police will be here any second." The man narrowed his eyes. "You don't know what you've gotten into." Then he turned and vanished into the woods, footsteps fading fast. Luna stayed alert, hackles raised, until the sound was gone. Back at the house, Noah called the police. "They'll send a patrol by tonight," he told Maya Layden, relaying the conversation. "But they want us to stay indoors, doors locked, and to call 911 if he returns." That night, as the sun dipped below the horizon, the house fell into a tense silence. Danny sat beside the puppies, gently stroking Storm, who had begun licking at his fingers. "They don't know how close they came to danger," he said softly. Luna curled protectively around her pups, her eyes watchful. She wasn't sleeping. She was guarding. The following morning started with a knock at the front door. It was soft, but insistent, just enough to jolt Noah out of a restless sleep on the living room couch. He sat up quickly, heart pounding. Luna had already padded out from Danny's room, her golden fur blowing in the early sunlight, posture alert but not aggressive. Another knock. "It's Officer Reynolds," a voice called through the door. "We have some information about that dog." Noah checked the peephole before unlocking the door. The officer stepped inside, holding a manila folder. Maya stood behind Noah, still tying her robe. "You found something?" she asked, glancing down at Luna, who had positioned herself protectively beside Danny. "She found you," the officer said quietly, looking at the dog with something close to awe. "And it looks like she knew exactly what she was doing." "What do you mean?" Noah asked, stepping aside so the officer could enter. "Do you mind if we sit?" Officer Reynolds asked. In the dining room, the officer laid out several photographs from the folder, military documents, a map, and what looked like crime scene evidence. One image showed a man in uniform crouching next to a younger-looking Luna. The officer tapped it. "This is Sergeant Jacob Raynon, military K-9 handler. Luna was his assigned dog during his final deployment overseas." "She was a military dog?" Maya said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Yes," the officer replied. "And not just any dog. She was trained for evidence detection and protection. Highly intelligent. Loyal. After Jacob was discharged, she was retired and released into his tent. But about 2 months ago, Jacob went missing. It's still an open case. Noah exchanged a stunned look with Maya. You think Luna was trying to protect something? Officer Reynolds nodded. We do. And not just something. Someone. Danny, still in his pajamas, slowly sat down at the table, his eyes wide. Is Jacob dead? The officer softened. We don't know yet, buddy. But what Luna did, coming to you hung, weathering a storm with puppies, birding them like her life depended on it, suggests she was trying to keep something safe until she could get help. She picked our house on purpose, Maya said quietly. She did, the officer confirmed. Dogs like Luna don't act randomly. She likely recognized something, your hung, your presence, your kindness. Or maybe, she just knew you'd help. Noah's thoughts swirled. So what happens now? Well, the evidence we have, including Luna's behavior, has reopened Jacob's missing person file. There's going to be a federal investigation. Danny perked up. Can Luna help? She already has, Officer Reynolds smiled. But we're planning a search, and if she's willing, she might help us find Jacob. That night, the Moybin home became a staging ground for investigators. By morning, unmarked vehicles filled the street, and agents set up a temporary command post in the dining room. Maps were pinned to the walls. Laptops hung. Luna sat calmly at the center of it all, watching. She's incredible, one agent murmured, kneeling to attach a tactical harness to Luna's body. This tells her she's back on duty. Luna stood still, allowing them to buckle each strap. The moment it was in place, her demeanor shifted, ears forward, eyes alert, tail high. She was ready. Let's move out, said Agent Doyle. A thin van of vehicles traveled several miles to the edge of a wooded area near a cabin once rented under Jacob's name. Luna led the agents into the trees, her movements confident. She paused only to sniff the air, then moved again, nose to the ground. Danny, who had stayed back at home, clutched stone to his chest as he watched the agents disappear into the trees from the window. She'll find him, he whispered. Noah stayed in constant contact with Agent Lawson, who updated him via radio. After about 30 minutes, Luna stopped near a large, moss-covered boulder. She began digging frantically. Let's get some shovels over here, an agent called. 2 feet down, they struck something hard. Everyone froze. Go slowly, Lawson instructed. It could be a trap or something sensitive. Bit by bit, a wooden structure emerged. A hidden hatch. A trap door. It's a room, one of the agents said. There's a handle here. As they pried the door open, Luna barked, loud and sharp, then backed away as if to give them space. The agents descended into the narrow entrance. 10 minutes later, they emerged carrying a stretcher. A man, unconscious but alive, covered in a worn jacket, his breathing shallow but steady. Jacob Rayner, one agent confirmed. We found him. Luna whined softly, then approached the stretcher, licking Jacob's hand. She stayed with that box, Agent Doyle said. She never gave it up. She protected it for weeks. And now, she brought us to him. The ambulance siren echoed through the quiet countryside as it pulled away from the cabin. Inside, Jacob Rayner lay wrapped in thermal blankets, an oxygen mask over his face. His vitals were stabilizing. Next to the stretcher, seated calmly with her head resting on the gurney's edge, was Luna. She's not leaving him, Agent Lawson said, standing beside Noah at the edge of the property. Not for anything. Noah nodded slowly. She stayed with him. Even when he disappeared, she never gave up. She did more than that, the agent replied. She found a way to save him. Luna looked back at them once, as if to say goodbye, then returned her attention to Jacob. "Stay with him, girl," Noah whispered. "We'll see you soon." Back at the house, Maya and Danny waited anxiously. When Noah finally returned, muddy and tired, he stepped into the living room to find Danny sitting cross-legged on the floor, the three puppies nestled around him like living stuffed animals. "Is he okay?" Danny asked without even looking up. "He's alive," Noah replied, crouching next to his son. "Luna found him. Just like you said she would." Danny's face brightened. "I knew it. She's staying with him at the hospital. She's not leaving his side. She loves him," Danny said simply, petting Storm's tiny head. Maya emerged from the kitchen holding mugs of cocoa. "I hope they let her stay. After everything she's done." "They will," Noah said. "They'd be crazy not to." The next day brought a wave of activity. The FBI maintained their presence on the property, and the Morbins gave statements, again. The story had caught national attention, and news trucks now lined the road outside Willow Creek. But the family tried to keep life inside the home as normal as possible. Danny insisted on taking care of the puppies himself. He fed them, cleaned up after them, even gave them nicknames that stuck. Thought he liked to nap on his shoes. Sonny barked in his sleep. And Storm, Danny's favorite, followed him from room to room, tail wagging like a tiny metronome. "He's like my shadow," Danny said proudly one evening, holding the squirming pup in his arms. Noah ruffled his son's hand. "Well, maybe that's just what you need right now." Maya watched from across the room, smiling softly. But then her smile faded. "What happens when Luna comes back?" Noah looked at her. "What do you mean?" "Well, she's still a military dog, technically. She might have to go back. She might not be ours to keep." Danny stopped playing with the puppies and looked up, alarmed. "But, she found us. She brought her babies here. Doesn't that mean something?" "I think it means everything," Noah said. "And we'll fight for her if we have to." 3 days later, Luna returned. It was a quiet, sunny afternoon when the doorbell rang. Noah opened the door to find Agent Lawson standing there, Luna at his side. She looked tired, but healthy. Her shoulder was bandaged, and her movements were a little stiffer than before, but her eyes lit up when she saw the family. Danny squealed with joy and threw himself into her fur. "Luna, you came back." She licked his cheek once, then nuzzled into his chest. The puppies went wild, scrambling toward her with yips and wags. She immediately lay down to let them nurse, her body forming a protective circle around them. "She's okay," Maya whispered, tears brimming in her eyes. "She never wanted to be anywhere else," Agent Lawson said. "And, there's something we need to discuss." They all gathered around the dining room table. Lawson placed a few documents on the surface, tapping them lightly. "Technically, Luna is still government property. But given her age, the trauma she's endured, and her actions in protecting evidence that led to the takedown of Sentinel security, well, let's just say the department is prepared to retire her. Permanently." Noah sat up straighter. "What does that mean for us?" "It means," Lawson said with a smile, "if you're willing, Luna can stay. She can be yours. Officially." Danny gasped. "We get to keep her?" "Only if Luna agrees," the agent joked. But Luna was already curled up at Danny's feet, her tail thumping gently as the puppy squirmed into her side. "I think she's made her choice," Maya said, wiping a tear from her cheek. As the days turned into weeks, life slowly returned to normal, or as close to normal as life could be after something like this. The trial of Victor Reeves and several executives from Sentinel Security dominated headlines for months. The evidence that Luna had protected in that sealed box, hidden beneath the cabin, proved to be the key to unraveling an entire web of corruption and illegal activity. Jacob Rayner testified from a wheelchair, his voice steady and unwavering. He credited Luna for saving his life. The story of the golden retriever who defied a storm, protected her puppies, and led the authorities to the truth became a symbol of loyalty and courage. People across the country wrote letters, sent gifts, and shared their own dog stories in tribute. But to Danny, Luna wasn't a hero. She was just Luna. His Luna. She still patrols the house sometimes, he told his teacher during show and tell one morning. She checks all the doors at night. Just in case. And it was true. Though she was officially retired, Luna remained ever vigilant. A squeaky floorboard, a creaky window, or a strange car in the driveway, she noticed it all. Some instincts, it seemed, never faded. But she was also learning how to rest. To play. To be a mom. And to simply be loved. Even as the dust began to settle, not all was calm. Luna had returned. The puppies were thriving. And Jacob, now out of the hospital, had visited the Morgans twice already, once to thank them, and again to tell Danny that he thought Luna had chosen the right new family. She's better off with you, he'd said softly, watching as Luna lay beside Danny with her head in his lap. She's already found her new mission. But peace, it turned out, was fragile. Late one night, Noah's phone rang. It was Agent Lawson. There's something you need to know, the agent said, voice clipped and serious. Victor Reeves was spotted at a gas station, 3 blocks from your house. Noah sat up in bed instantly, heart racing. What? How did he get out? He didn't. He's not supposed to be anywhere near your town. We believe he was scouting the area. Maybe for intimidation. Maybe worse. We've got a patrol car heading to you now, but I need you to wake your family and be ready to move. Noah was already out of bed, flitting on the bedroom light. We'll be ready. Maya stirred, her eyes already full of worry. What's happening? He's here, Noah said simply. We need to pack a bag and stay with Lawson's team tonight. Danny was still asleep in his room, curled up in his fort of blankets with Storm beside him. When Noah woke him and explained, Danny sat up quickly. But what about Luna and the puppies? They're coming with us, Maya assured him, already collecting food and supplies into a duffel bag. We won't leave anyone behind. But they didn't have the time. A sound, sharp and sudden, rang out from the kitchen. Glass shattering. Noah froze. He's trying to get in. Maya gathered Danny into her arms, rushing him and the puppies to the back bedroom. Noah grabbed his phone with one hand and a baseball bat with the other. He was dialing 911 when Luna, who had been asleep in Danny's closet, bolted upright and raced toward the source of the noise. She growled, low and deadly, and leapt through the hallway with terrifying precision. Another crash. More barking. A yell of pain. She's got him, Danny whispered, still clutching Storm tightly. Luna's fighting him. We have to stay quiet, Maya said, holding her son close. From outside, they could hear the sound of tires screeching, then voices shouting. A spotlight lit up the backyard, followed by the unmistakable shout. FBI. Put your hands where we can see them. A final crash came from the front of the house, then silence. Maya opened the bedroom door cautiously. Noah? It's okay, he called back. It's over. Luna appeared in the doorway moments later. She was limping, a shallow cut on her shoulder, but otherwise unharmed. Her eyes were still wild, her fur puffed and bristling, but she wagged her tail the moment she saw Danny. You did it, Danny whispered, sliding off the bed and wrapping his arms around her. You saved us again. Federal agents flooded the house. Victor Reeves had been subdued just outside the living room, a nasty bite on his forearm the reason for his downfall. He was now in handcuffs, face bruised and scowling as he was loaded into the back of a black SUV. Luna bought us the time we needed, Lawson said, helping the medics tend to her wound. She knew exactly where to strike, and when. She knew he'd come back, Maya murmured, stunned. She was never just guarding us. She was waiting for him. Noah watched Luna, now flanked by her puppies, as she allowed the vet to bandage her shoulder with minimal protest. And she made sure we'd be ready. That night, the family didn't sleep. Not because they were scared, but because they were wired from adrenaline. They gathered in the living room, drinking warm tea and sharing a single large blanket, with Luna resting in the center, the puppies curled around her. She's more than just brave, Maya said quietly. She's part of this family now. In every way. The next morning brought new questions. The media wanted interviews. Reporters camped outside the street. Offers poured in from rescue organizations and dog training groups. One national morning show even offered to fly the entire Morgan family to New York. But they said no to all of it. We're not looking for fame, Noah explained to Lawson when he called to ask. We just want Luna and the pups to have a normal life. Whatever that means now. They deserve that, Lawson said. You all do. Later that day, as Noah helped Danny organize his growing stack of drawings, all of Luna and her pups, he paused on one that caught his attention. In it, Danny had drawn Luna standing proudly in front of their house. Behind her were the puppies. Behind them, Danny, holding a leash. And above them, a single phrase written in crayon. The day we opened the door. Noah smiled. That was the moment everything changed, wasn't it? Danny nodded. It's when Luna found us. But you know, Noah said, kneeling beside him, sometimes I think we didn't find him. She found us. Danny's eyes lit up. Like she picked us on purpose. Exactly. They pinned the drawing to the fridge that afternoon, right above a note from the vet. Luna, 100% healed. Puppies doing well. Cleared for full adoption. The days that followed were a mix of relief and subtle adjustment. The home was safe again, but the tension left behind by Victor Reeves's break-in didn't vanish overnight. There were still glass shards hidden in carpet corners, a kitchen window boarded up with plywood, and the lingering feeling that at any moment, something could go wrong again. But Luna, as always, was watchful. She made her rounds each morning and evening, checking every room before settling near Danny's bed at night. It wasn't fear that kept her alert, it was duty. Even though her days in a uniform were long behind her, that sense of responsibility remained sharp. Danny no longer needed night lights. He had Luna. And in the quiet moments, early mornings before the sun, and late nights when the house was still, she would often be found sitting by the window, eyes trained on the yard, the horizon, and the road beyond. She's still guarding us, Maya said one night as she watched Luna from the hallway. She probably always will, Noah replied. It was a Thursday afternoon when they got the call. Jacob wanted to visit. Since being rescued, Jacob Rayner had been recovering steadily in a military rehab center 2 towns over. His injuries had healed well, but the emotional trauma, the betrayal by his former employers, the time spent trapped and alone, took longer. And yet, the first words he said when he called were, I need to see her. Luna stood at the door before Jacob's car even turned the corner. Her tail didn't wag, not right away. She stood completely still, her ears alert, head slightly tilted. When Jacob stepped out of the car with a cane in hand, Luna hesitated for only a second, then she ran. The ears fell away. Jacob dropped to his knees, ignoring the ache in his side as Luna barreled into him, whining, licking his face, circling around him and back again. The puppies barked wildly from inside the house, and Danny opened the door to let them out. It was a reunion the whole town seemed to hold its breath for. I can't believe how much she's changed, Jacob said later, sitting in the Morgan's living room, a mug of tea in his hands. And yet, she hasn't changed at all. She's a mom now, Danny said proudly. And she still guards me every night. Jacob smiled. She was always protective. But this is different. The conversation drifted from Luna to the trial, then to what came next. Jacob still had testimony to give, and there were hearings scheduled for weeks. But his thoughts kept returning to Luna. I always thought she'd stay with me forever, he said, eyes on the puppies as they napped. But I think I understand now. She came here for a reason. She picked us, Danny said simply. Jacob turned to the boy and smiled. I think she did. Then, after a long pause, he added, but she might still have one more mission in her. A week later, the federal team returned to Willow Creek, this time not for an arrest or a rescue, but for a search. There was still one piece missing in the Sentinel security investigation, a hidden data cache that Jacob believes had been buried or stashed somewhere off-grid. It had belonged to a whistleblower, Jacob's friend, who had died under mysterious circumstances a month before Jacob went missing. He told me if anything happened, to trust Luna, Jacob explained. He must have given her a scent marker. Something to find it. That morning, Luna was fitted with her harness again. The second it clicked into place, her whole body shifted, ears forward, tail stiff, shoulders squared. She was no longer just the Morbin's dog. She was a working dog again. She knows, Jacob said quietly as he walked alongside Agent Lawson, Danny, and Noah through the tall grass beyond town. She always knows. For nearly an hour, Luna weaved through trees, creeks, and brush. She sniffed out rabbit trails, paused at fallen logs, then doubled back. It wasn't until she reached the edge of a ravine that she stopped cold. She barked once. Twice. Then began to dig. Noah and Lawson exchanged a glance, then grabbed shovels. 2 feet down, they struck a metal box, smaller than the last one, wrapped in a waterproof seal and duct tape. Inside, after agents confirmed it was safe, they found 2 flash drawings, a handwritten journal, and dozens of encrypted security codes. This is it, Lawson said. It's everything we needed. Luna stood over the site proudly, tail wagging now, as if satisfied with the mission's end. You did it again, girl, Jacob said softly, kneeling beside her. Just like you promised. Danny walked up slowly, stone trotting beside him. Does this mean she has to go now? He asked, voice hesitant. No, Jacob said, placing a hand on Danny's shoulder. It means she can rest now. He looked down at Luna and whispered, You've done enough. That night, the Morbins held a small celebration in their backyard. Justin, Jacob, Luna, and the puppies. There were paper lanterns hanging from the trees, lemonade and plastic cups, and Danny ran barefoot through the grass with Storm at his heels. Luna lay on the porch, her head resting on her paws, her bulbin coat catching the lantern below. Jacob sat beside her, scratching gently behind her ears. I've been thinking, he said to Maya and Noah. If you're still okay with it, I'd like to make it official. I want Luna to stay here, with you. Noah's eyebrows lifted. Are you sure? She's in peace. A family. And I see how she is with Danny. Jacob paused. Besides, this house, this is her home now. Danny came over, hugging Luna tight. She'll always be our hero. Jacob nodded. She's one of a kind. As the evening faded into night, Luna remained on the porch, her gaze calm and satisfied. No longer on patrol. No longer searching. Just home. Weeks passed, and a rhythm returned to life at the Morbins' home. The boarded-up kitchen window was finally replaced, the broken glass long swept away. Most of the town moved on, their interest fading after the headlines and camera crews disappeared. But for the Morbins, and especially for Danny, everything had changed forever. Luna was no longer just a dog. She was family, guardian, teacher, and for Danny, something more. She was a symbol of everything good: bravery, loyalty, love, and the power of listening to your heart when someone knocks on your door in need. She spent her mornings napping in the sun, afternoons supervising the puppies, and evenings resting at Danny's feet while you read her stories aloud. He even made her a cardboard Medal of Honor and taped it to her collar. For bravery in the line of fluff, he declared proudly. She wore it for 3 whole days before it fell off. The puppies grew fast. Storm was the biggest and boldest, always running ahead, always getting into things he shouldn't. Cloudy was the calmest, thoughtful and affectionate. Sunny was the topper, constantly barking at leaves, birds, the vacuum cleaner, and sometimes even his own tail. Maya had begun calling them her Tornado Trio. "I'm not sure of his raising who anymore," she joked one afternoon as the puppies bounded through the living room. Luna watched patiently from her spot on the rug, tail wagging softly, her eyes full of pride. One evening, Danny found an old dog training book on the family bookshelf. It had been part of Noah's science classroom collection, full of notes about working dogs, obedience commands, and canine communication techniques. The section on service animals fascinated Danny most. Especially the part about how dogs could be trained to detect danger or help people with disabilities. "Luna's already trained," he said to his dad. "Do you think she could teach her puppies too?" Noah set down his coffee and leaned forward. "Well, if you're up for it, maybe we could try." And so, the backyard turned into a training course. Noah helped Danny build small agility tunnels out of PVC pipe and old tarps. They used broomsticks for hurdles and shoeboxes filled with different objects for scent games. Luna watched the construction with mild curiosity, then full engagement once she realized what was happening. She began showing her pups what to do. It wasn't long before Storm could follow simple commands like sit, down, and find it. Sunny learned shake and roll over in record time, while Cloudy took a little longer but proved to be the most focused of the bunch. "They're learning from Luna," Danny told Maya one afternoon as he tossed a tennis ball across the lawn. "She's like their school." "I think they have a pretty amazing teacher," Maya replied, smiling. Meanwhile, updates from Agent Lawson came less frequently, but they were always reassuring. Victor Ruiz had been denied bail. Sentinel Security was under federal investigation, and several top executives had flipped, revealing even more about the organization's illegal surveillance and data trafficking network. And Jacob? He had returned to his family in Vermont but kept in touch weekly. Every Friday, he video-called the Morbins. Every time, Luna perked up the second she heard his voice. "Hey, girl," he'd say from his kitchen table. "How's civilian life treating you?" And each time, she'd paw at the screen and bark once, tail wagging steadily. "You know," he said during one call, when she came to your house that night, she made a decision. Not just to protect that box or those puppies, but to find a new mission. A new family. "I think she found both," Maya said softly. One afternoon, as summer faded into autumn, Danny came home from school carrying a flyer in his backpack. Pause for Hope was hosting a community event at the park, a dog adoption fair, training showcase, and fundraising walk to support service animals and local shelters. "They're asking for dog trainers to do a short demo," Danny said excitedly. "Do you think Luna and the puppies could be in it?" "Sure," Noah said, smiling. "If they're ready." "They're totally ready," Danny declared. They spent the next week rehearsing commands, practicing walking information, and even preparing a few tricks. And when the day of the event arrived, the Morbins set up a folding tent with a banner that read, "The Heroes of Willow Creek." Luna, calm and poised, wore a red scarf embroidered with her name. The puppies, wearing matching blue bandanas, followed her onto the small makeshift stage with adorable chaos. Storm rolled over the wrong way, Sunny barked at the microphone, and Cloudy almost knocked over a display board. But then Luna gave a soft bark, and, somehow, they snapped to attention. As Danny gave each command, the crowd clapped and laughed. It was messy, chaotic, and utterly heartwarming. By the end of that performance, people were on their feet, applauding the golden retriever family that had once walked out of a storm and into a town's heart. Afterward, strangers came up to shake hands, take photos, and pet Luna gently. "She's so calm," one woman said. "She's been through a lot," Danny replied. "But she always knew what to do." A man from a nearby shelter asked if the Morbins had considered letting Luna's puppies train to become therapy or support animals. "They've got the temperament," he said. "And clearly, the instincts." Danny looked at his parents. Noah smiled. "It's your call, buddy." "I want to keep one," Danny said quickly. "But the others, if they can help someone else the way Luna helped us." He didn't need to finish the sentence. That night, back home, Luna lay at the foot of Danny's bed, her eyes half closed, the familiar scent of her puppies surrounding her. He reached down and rested his hand on her throat. "You saved Jacob. You saved us. And now, you're helping them save other people too." Luna didn't move. But her tail tapped the floor once. A quiet, golden yes. Autumn melted into winter in Willow Creek, and the Morbins' home, once a quiet house on the edge of Maple Street, had become a kind of sanctuary. Luna remained the center of it all. Even though her puppies had started training for bigger things, Storm and Sunny had both been placed with early-stage therapy programs while Cloudy stayed behind with Danny. Luna's calm presence never changed. She still checked windows before bed. Still circled the yard after dark. Still slept beside Danny, never far from reach. The town had slowly stopped whispering about the hero dog and the mystery storm night, but Luna's legend lived on quietly. The vet would still wait extra long when they saw her at checkups. The mail carrier would leave a small biscuit by the mailbox every Wednesday. And local kids would point whenever she walked past on her leash, whispering, "That's the one." To Luna, though, none of that mattered. She wasn't in it for the recognition. Only the family. Only the boy. One snowy afternoon, Danny found a photo frame in the attic while helping Maya organize holiday decorations. Inside was a picture of their old house in the city, before Willow Creek, before the storm, before Luna. He stared at it for a long time. "We were happy then," he said, showing it to Maya. "But it feels like that was someone else's life." "It kind of was," she replied gently. "We've all changed since then. You've grown so much." "I think Luna helped me," Danny said. "She made me braver." "She made all of us braver," Maya agreed. Danny placed the photo back in the box but kept the frame. That night, he slipped a new picture inside, one he had drawn himself. It showed him and Luna, standing side by side beneath a stormy sky, a door opened behind them, and the words, "We opened it together." He set it on his nightstand, next to Luna's collar tags, which she no longer needed to wear every day. She was off duty now. Around the same time, Jacob sent them a package. Inside was a small wooden plaque, carefully engraved. "For Luna. For courage without condition. For loyalty without question. For love without limits." There was also a letter. "Dear Morbins. Some dogs are meant to follow. Others are meant to lead. Luna has always done both, with grace, wisdom, and heart. She saved my life, but she found her purpose with you. I couldn't be more grateful. Give her a scratch behind the ears for me. And to Danny, thank you for being her person now. With gratitude. Jacob." Danny read the letter 3 times that night. Then he sat beside Luna and whispered, "He says thank you. But I think we should be the ones saying that." Luna leaned against him, her eyes soft, her tail thumping gently. As Christmas neared, the family prepared for a quiet celebration. Snow dusted the sidewalks and rooftops, the town square sparkled with roaring golden lights, and the local shelter had put up an ornament tree, each decoration representing a dog or cat that had found a home this year. Luna's ornament was front and center. A golden disc with her name in bold letters. She brought in more donations this year than our last 5 campaigns combined, the shelter coordinator joked to Maya at the grocery store. You should put her on the payroll. But Luna wasn't interested in fame or paychecks. She just wanted to be near her people. On Christmas Eve, the Morbins lit a fire and played quiet music. Danny helped Maya bake cookies shaped like bones for Luna and Cloudy, and then they all sat together in the living room, watching the snow fall gently outside. I keep thinking about that night, Danny said suddenly. When Luna knocked. What if we hadn't opened the door? Noah looked at him over his mug of tea. We did. That's what matters. But what if we hadn't? Luna, resting her chin on Danny's foot, looked up as if she understood. Maya answered softly, then we wouldn't have found each other. Or learned everything she had to teach us. She taught us to listen, Danny said. Even when no one else would. Noah nodded. And to act, even when it's scary. And that opening the door, Maya added, can change someone's whole world. Danny reached down and scratched Luna's ears. Maybe even save it. She gave a single soft bark, and Cloudy, now nearly as tall as her mother, bounced over, curling up beside him. The family sat in peaceful silence, warmed not just by the fire, but by something deeper. Something unspoken. Something that had started the moment a golden retriever and her puppies appeared at their doorstep on a stormy night. A moment when everything could have been different. If not for the courage to answer the knock.